My friends, hello and welcome to The World Is Not Enough SpeedLore, the series where we examine the speedrunning of the video game 007 The World Is Not Enough for the Nintendo 64 through the lens of the world record progression on various stages. Now, what is certainly interesting about The World Is Not Enough is that, look, we know it's not GoldenEye nor even Perfect Dark in terms of the depths and breadth of history in speedrunning the game, yet there still is enough to do these sorts of SpeedLore episodes, and as always, my hope is that by doing these episodes, we may inspire a new generation of players to come along and, speedrun The World Is Not Enough, and who knows how the history books will be written. And something that is actually quite interesting is that, I've only done 2 episodes. One really did a pilot, and then I did Turncoat last month. And we've already seen how just the nature of the World Is Not Enough SpeedLore has affected the history book already. And it's not something that I expected to happen this quickly, but we're already seeing a massive influx of players speedrunning the game, which is, to say 3 or 4 players is as much as, the last 20 years, more or less. And B, something very unexpected happened that we will get to at the very end of tonight's episode. But tonight, indeed, we are doing the level, the one and only Midnight Departure. Now, if you recall this game, The World Is Not Enough, a video game interpretation of the Bond movie of the same title. The game came out in 2000, and on this stage, we are pursuing a fellow by the name of Davidov, who's, one of the bad guys. And we've learned intelligence that he's going to impersonate a nuclear scientist at a nuclear facility. So the objective here is to basically thwart this, eliminate Davidov, and basically take the identity that he was going to take, and you go to the nuclear facility to see what is up. And this level comes immediately after Night Watch, which is the one where you sneak around the villa. That's going to be a good episode when we get to that. But this is indeed Midnight Departure. So let's take a look. And the first run of the night, we have this beautiful high-quality capture from our pal Grassloo. A huge thanks to Grassloo for, making these great quality captures of a World Is Not Enough playthrough. This is the 7th level of the game's 14 stages. So we queue into the level. Davidov exits this vehicle. Little does Davidov know that we are pursuing him. We are in the trunk of this car. We will emerge from it. And I'm curious to see how quickly Grassloo gets in there and eliminates Davidov, because that's an objective. On Double Agent, there's a couple of extra objectives from Agent, and we'll get into that here as the night progresses. So Grassloo's coming around to this side. Pretty smart strategy. Headshot that guy. Blow up the radio, presumably. Oh, interesting. Yep. He's going to headshot Davidov from this angle. And this is sort of almost the statue of The World Is Not Enough, in that it's dark, it's nighttime, it's very easy to get lost, which, I certainly don't like. In statue, okay, so you gotta pick up Davidov's phone. That's quite a necessary objective. And yeah, just the way that it's difficult to sort of learn the stage. Statue is a stage that's, kind of almost cooked into my genetic memory at this point. And I think that's the case for a lot of GoldenEye speedrunners. So picking up Archive's ID badge, Objective D, is not an objective on Agent. So you don't have to go to that cabin to pick up the badge. But just sort of learning the stage, learning the map, where all the guards are. And of course, Grassloo has like this perfect coloration of his captures and his gameplay, which is very helpful, which you might not have on your television. There's this river that crosses the stage. When we look at the map, which we will do soon, we'll see that, like, the river isn't as confusing as I thought it was as a kid. the stage really always confused me, and unlike Statue, I was not able to learn it, and that might have been because there was less community, less maps, less culture around Twine. And that is certainly something that I do hope to change, you know, with this SpeedLore. And believe me, it gets pretty crazy. This is another good level, you know? We started out with the Peep incident and the Peep manifesto, and we might get into something like the M-Lock incident, is what I'll refer to it, through this episode. And I will, you know, you'll see when we get there. Now, on this level, you notice that Grassloo just strafed past a truck. You can ride that truck, which takes you from that point into this runway area. You know, according to the stage, you're supposed to board a plane to the nuclear facility. Somewhere in Central Asia, you know? And so we come to this disused airbase. That's where Davidov was going to get the plane from and impersonate Dr. Arkov. And so we're here on the, you know, disused airbase. And then now we have to get a plane and so on and so forth. But yeah, we see some unusual stuff. Now on 00 Agent, this is again one of the 00 explicit objectives. We have to find an item to bribe the pilot or the henchman of the pilot. And so on Secret 00 Agent, we find ourselves none other than something Grassloo will come upon here in this area. And its exact location changes as per the difficulty. You can just blow up those tanks and grab this item to bribe the pilot. Sports bag. A sports bag is an adequate item to bribe the pilot here in the Central Asian steppe in the near East. So, yeah, quite a remarkable item. When I made my Twine iceberg back in March, which is kind of when this all started, this sort of Twine endeavor that I've taken upon, I wanted to include sports bag in the iceberg, and it was one of the last ones I cut out. Apparently in the movie, it's like a pair of Adidas sneakers or like an Adidas sports suit or something.
Don't hurt me.
Yeah, so their shoddy snipes in chat says it's shoes.
Now land that plane for me. Okay, flight 711, you're cleared for immediate landing, over.
Adidas shoes. So yeah, you got to talk to the air traffic guy and or get him to land the plane. This building is a little bit interesting and troll because there's a few guards and also non-guards, innocent guys that if you shoot, you fail the mission. And that's just like the game's like being sneaky and trying to trick you, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Here's the plane. If anyone can identify the plane in chat, I would love to know. It's a very interesting plane. You talk to the henchman. You pretend to be Mikhail Arkov. You give him a sports bag and you welcome aboard. It gives me flashbacks to playing this level as a kid with my cousin, like coming across the sports bag and getting so far into this mission, this winding mission that's very difficult. I'd be like, oh my god, it's amazing. So great performance by Grassloo, making his way through the stage. Well done. Much appreciated for this video footage. He beats the level in the time of, I think it's going to be 5 something. 5:13. Good stuff, Grassloo. Interesting. Shoddy Snipes in chat says that the quote from the movie is, "Did you bring the grease?" So there you go. Whatever that is supposed to entail. Okay, so cool run there. Now we're going to watch a speed run of the level. This is sort of the first entry-level speedrun on the stage. You know, because so few people have submitted speedruns of this game. This is second place on 00 Agent right now. It's a time of 2:34 by Speedrun Trainer, and we'll see how this compares historically or not to the world record. Suffice to say, this would not have been the record since like the very earliest days of this game. But it's a run. It's from our pal Speedrun Trainer, a guy who probably has not got enough airtime in SpeedLores, and I'm happy to show his run here. I'm glad he's been playing this game lately. Double O, it's very hard to survive. He's going to cruise through. He's eliminated Davidov. Great stuff. Cutting down this path here, you get towards that cabin. You can get Arkov's badge. And now he's just got to make his way to the airstrip. Get the sports bag. Get the air traffic controller to land the plane. So on and so forth. So now it becomes a bit of a strafing level. And you may ponder, you know, how can the record be improved from this? And we'll see overnight if there's any new strategies used or any interesting developments. So Speedrun Trainer is carrying on, winding through these paths, and we'll look at a map in a couple moments here. He's getting a little bit of stuck on the trees, so maybe a couple seconds could come off. He's found his way at the entrance. And yeah, kind of like in GoldenEye on streets, it is not faster to take the vehicle. You know, you can jump in the back of the vehicle, it'll drive you here. Not faster in this game. So Speedrun Trainer is using that technique of just blowing up the barrels for the sports bag. Good stuff. Now he's going to cross this field with guys shooting at him. He's going to take flak. It's double O agent. He can easily pass away here. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Looking up. Getting here. There's going to be one or two bad guards and one or two. That guy don't shoot. A guy up to the top of the stairs do shoot. Contact this guy.
Don't hurt me. Who are you?
So you can just jump out the window, and you thankfully don't take fall damage there. There are ways to avoid the fall damage in Twine. You can jump with whatever your control style is set to, it's different, but usually it can be top D-pad is jump. And there are ways to avoid fall damage if you press it again as you're about to land. But in that case, jumping out the window, you generally survive there. Pretty interesting. And you get on the plane. And my friends, Speedrun Trainer, we have a time of, as I mentioned earlier, 2:34. Huge thanks, Speedrun Trainer. Great video capture. I love it. Couple things we're going to look at. One's the map of the stage. So take a look at this map, right? You start out at the bottom, and anywhere there's that gold filler is sort of like the forests that you cannot access. So it's like a maze through the path. Now, one could imagine that you kind of want to enter, you know, as close as possible. Which if I pull up another map, you can see this blue line would be optimal. But the problem is there's this massive fence on this side. And we'll see some clips of that fence a little bit later. So this is like a theoretical drawn up map to like how would be the best route through the stage. Now the problem is because that fence, you can't get through there. So you have to take this sort of long right side route to get onto the abandoned airstrip. And what's even worse is that the sports bag E up here, these top two boxes at the very top center of the map are where the sports bag is. So you have to like go all the way up there and then back into the airfield and climb up this building. You know, one could ponder if we could get rid of the fence or whatever, how, you know, it'd be a better route, but we're a long ways off from pondering these things. Now, Algorithm in chat asks, does look at the ground not increase FPS? So the thing with The World Is Not Enough is it's so laggy that's like hard to say. It's like, generally speaking, look down saves time in GoldenEye. In The World Is Not Enough, it like might or might not. And we'll see what these guys do in the rest of the runs. It's also harder to look down because of the jumping mechanic. Your look up down is like usually mapped to the place of the third hand, which could be the D-pad, could be the C buttons. So it's hard to like look up and down while also jumping, which is like a key mechanic in The World's Not Enough. So yeah, we'll see what people come up with later. But at this point in time, March 1802, this was like a privately hosted rivalry rankings on GeoCities or Geocities. And we see the records on Midnight Departure. We see 224.00 is a claimed record. None of these videos exist anymore, unfortunately, if they ever existed at all. We see 1 second faster, 223 on Special or Secret Agent, and 202 Agent. So 202, 223, 224. And I've mentioned these eras of Twine. So in the 05, which is the first time we see Boss kind of enter the scene, we have 159, 220s. And then 07, which is when Henrik enters the scene, we see Henrik tie the 159 and tie the 220s at some point. And even Brandon Sanford, Bix, ties 220. Those would be amazing runs to see if they could ever be dug up. But I doubt they ever will be, very unfortunately. So we're gonna watch a couple of the runs from Henrik of these tied times. This is the earliest moment in time where we have videos of records ranked. And Sale Anarmo asks in chat, does Twine not support the GoldenEye 2.1 controller scheme? Yeah, Twine does not have like the double controllers where you use 2 controllers to save a third of a second and build full speed in the cutscene. Even if it did, it's unlikely that it's a glitch that you can build speed in the cutscene with the second controller. So, yeah, it's unlikely that if they had that in Twine anyways, that it would be that glitch that saves time. And Bad Idea in chat asks, what is it with the 9-second runs on Courier? Well, my friend, we will get to that when we do the Courier episode of SpeedLore, or I do talk about it in the Twine Iceberg on my main channel, Goose's Gamer Folklore, which you can check out. So, let's watch these 159, 220 by Henrik. And these were done in and around mid-2007. And so this first one is going to be Henrik's, actually, let's watch Henrik's 159 Agent first. So we'll watch an Agent run. He won't need to get Davidov's, Arkov's badge, and he won't need the sports bag. So this gets 159, it's quite a bit faster. And we're going to dedicate this run to a SpeedLore champion. And this one's going to go to our friend Noah. A huge thanks for your support of SpeedLore on Patreon, Noah. Let's watch Henrik's 159 Agent. So he's going to strafe around here. Taking out Davidov. Got Davidov's cell phone, objective B. And just kind of strafe to the end, but we're going to see if the route is any different, which it will be because he doesn't have to pass by the cabin. And just kind of avoiding flak, learning the route. It's one of those things now where as a kid, I was so clueless on the stage. But now even, I feel like I can kind of know the route better. Getting a map of that map that I showed earlier comes from like IGN, which is like, okay, good on them for somehow having a map of the stage on The World Is Not Enough. But Henrik is here, he's approaching now, getting close to the end, getting close to the airfield right here. Perfect. He is at the airfield. Quality maxes out in 240p, baby. That's all we got. Strafing across there, the runway into this building. My friends, what will happen next? Strafe. Open the door. You know, Agent, you can kind of avoid some guards. I wonder if he's going to avoid this one at the top of the stairs. Nope, he takes him out. Immediately activates the guard, jumps out the window, and you don't want to get hit by the plane because that will eliminate you, ending your run. But you want to get close, you want to be able to talk to the guy as soon as you possibly can. There we go. He's right in the spot. Who are you? Runs off. And there it is. Henrik with the 159. Yeah, so Henrik did kind of look down a bit. That might just be some instincts from GoldenEye. Might not even be needed. But 159 Agent. Very good run. And yeah, if we look at the rankings, we see the times here. Now, actually, I probably misspoke earlier saying that Henrik got 220.00, which, you know, maybe is not the case. So, but he definitely got 220 Secret Agent, and we're going to watch that one next, the 220 Secret Agent. So, you know, 159 Agent, and sometime in 07, he also got this, 220 Secret Agent. Let's take a look, my friends. So now, in essence, we know at this point in time that taking this sort of left route into this cabin in the woods for Arkov's badge and getting the sports bag costs about 21 seconds. So that's sort of the new knowledge. Getting some flack there. I mean, really, something unusual and unexpected will take place probably, well, maybe twice. Maybe twice it takes place in this lore episode. So, yeah, pretty cool. The next run is going to be a little bit bothersome to some. We see Henrik kind of take a different route there. Instead of crossing the field, he kind of has to go all the way this way into this area for the sports bag. Now on Secret Agent, it's in a different spot. It's not by those canisters. It's in the back of this truck. But coincidentally, those are almost take the exact same amount of time to get to. Whether you have to go to the canisters inside that sort of warehouse or whether you're in the back of the truck, they take roughly the same amount of time. And even more interestingly, and this is so insane, I saw this for the first time, like, putting together this episode. This method of entering the building, jumping through the window,
Don't hurt me. Who are you?
takes a similar amount of time as going through the door and up the stairs. Which blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Like, I never saw that before. And it's kind of one of these beautiful things in Twine where perfect timing, who are you? Arkov, Mikhail Arkov, bingo bango. It's one of those things where, like, what is faster? You know, do we know? Will we ever know? Has it been deeply, deeply examined? But there's the 220 on Secret Agent by Henrik, and a very, very nice run at that. So yeah, this 07 update, you know, there we go. 220, Henrik, Secret Agent, not on 00. Let's see if we can get the 2008 screenshot to load here and see what if Henrik ever did get 220 on 00 Agent. Doesn't seem like, is there any more new times in this? So that's 107.40. No. So there was, from the time that the archive has it captured, this is like October 08, and the total times 107.40. October 08, this is August 07, no new updates. Same time at the bottom. So, yeah, really Henrik playing this game in 07 was sort of the last dash of activity until he played again in 2013. Now there's one or two extremely small exceptions to that, and this is one of them. I'm actually amazed we dug up this run. Long story short, last episode was about this unexpected return of Peep. Peep has now been, like, helping me research these episodes. Peep dug up this run. It is by a Japanese player named Cedric, who was more well known for playing Perfect Dark. He tied Henrik's 159 Agent. The run is so unusual. It's shaky. It's bizarre. It may be hard on the eyes for some people, so I'm warning you already. I'll let you know when the run is over. But I gotta give this one a speedrun dedication, and this one is gonna go to our pal, Sula Rock, our speedrun champion, the Soul. A huge thanks to you for supporting SpeedLore on Patreon. Let's watch Cedric, of all people. And it's just so crazy when you really just ponder, you know, what caused Cedric, Henrik, anyone to play Twine, you know? It just... And let alone Cedric go on and, you know, tie the record. Yeah, so Bootleg asks, is the shakiness a PAL NTSC recording thing? And I don't know if it's ever definitively been said, because Chuya and his attack ship 206 in Perfect Dark look similar. And no one, you know, we've always pondered why this looks like this. And I believe he played PAL in a Japanese region and maybe captured it on an NTSC VCR. But, you know, why would Cedric choose to play this on PAL? You know, doesn't, from what I know, it's not a big difference, NTSC PAL, you know, in this game. And so, you know, that's something I'm going to have to consult with Peep and Henrik on, what version this would have been played on. I believe this to be NTSC because I don't see any reason for it to be PAL. But who knows, maybe he only had PAL Twine for some reason. It's very unusual. And Bootleg says that this could probably be fixed in post. And I believe that to be true these days. Yeah, who converted the video? No idea. It is possible he mailed it to someone, but I don't think that's the case. Like, the simplest and least satisfying answer is this is just how the Japanese runs looked at the time. It might have been a C-cam thing. It's like the third sort of video format, you know? But I agree, in the modern day, especially using like AI tools, I know they're frowned upon to a large extent, but, and sometimes it's not even AI tools, sometimes it's like Photoshop fill, you know, used to be you know, that is very similar to the modern AI tools. And anyways, yeah, there's some rhythmic way we could probably restore this run and sharpen and all that kind of stuff, which would be kind of cool. Yeah, Hyde Yoshi says the run's very rectangular. I believe it's NTSC. I don't see why it would be PAL. But then it confuses me because Chuya's run that looks like this in Perfect Dark Attack Ship was PAL. You know, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, but like it was generative AI 10 years ago before people knew what it was, you know, so anyways, just unusual things. And there you go, Cedric got the 159. Very, very cool. Now here's sort of a way we're gonna jump through time a bit. Peep has reappeared in the scene, which I am very happy about. Cool to have this interesting fellow on the scene. And he shared this run. He was able to tie 220 on Secret Agent. Okay. Now, we're going to watch Peep's 220 Secret Agent. He was going for, well, the world record, maybe even trying to lower it. He got this, he shared it with me. It's a really interesting run. We get another sort of like camera side view. Not an amazing capture, which I used to lament, but now I think they add charm to the story. So this was done in around somewhere between 2016 and 18 when Peep kind of joined about and became active. But, you know, something else happened, a missing piece that we're going to get to in retrospect in a few moments. That being said, this preserved Peep run from back in the day that's only been recently re-released is pretty remarkable. And so we're going to dedicate it to a SpeedLore champion. And this one is going to go to none other than the one and only Mr. Moxie. A huge thanks to you, Mr. Moxie, for your support of SpeedLore on Patreon. Let's watch Peep's Midnight Departure, Secret Agent 220. So it's actually kind of underappreciated how these guys really snipe out Davidov pretty well. It's not that easy to do if you try yourself. He's got Archives card. Strafing up. Now remember, Henrik used this method after gaining access to the airbase, where he strafed up the sort of ridge and jumped through the window for 220. Let's see what Peep does here. So strafing through the statuesque labyrinth of the night. I need to find a Game Shark code that makes this daytime. I gotta make... There's groups out there. I gotta make friends and friends in low places. Unusual places, at least. So he's on the airfield. He's gonna get the sports bag and carry on. Let's see what happens. Because I really need to learn some Game Shark coding on this game, because there's a lot to be unearthed still, I think. Sports bag. Strafe it. Will Bo Peep go up the ridge? No, it appears Bo Peep is going to enter the conventional way in the air traffic controller tower, which is quite interesting. Let's see. In. Up the stairs. Take out that guy. Through the window. Plane's gonna land. He'll be in the right spot. These guys have learned exactly where to kind of go. The pattern here. You get on this side. You avoid getting hit by the plane. And then you get into this spot. And you activate the speech at the first moment as the guard loads. You know, Hyde Yoshi asks a great question. Can you land the plane before getting the bag? I've wondered this myself. I don't know. And there it is, 220. What are the odds that you can get 220 this way? You know? Completely different route once we've gotten the sports bay from Henrik, and yet it's still 220. Just find it so amazing and unusual. Yeah, can you land the plane first and then get the bag? I think you can. I'm pretty sure when you play through the game you can. Would it be faster? Like, why wouldn't it be, you know? So these are questions that need to be investigated further and more deeply. We'll see if Henrik or Bo Peep or anyone comments, and we can ponder this further. And this is exactly why I want to do this TWINE SpeedLore, because it's sort of like a great combination of doing this archaeology in gaming and also like strategy and theorizing for possible development, which is cool. So again, that 220, 159, 220, 220. These are the times on Midnight Departure. But my friends, in August 2013, it would all change. In the TWINE thread, which exists on the Elite Forum, believe it or not, we see a lot of activity in and around, you know, September, August, October 2013. And this is because Henrik was playing a lot of TWINE. Just scrolling tons of posts, interesting stuff. And down here, we see a post where Henrik is saying, oh, here's my runs, by the way. Here's some stuff I got. Oh, you know, I got Midnight Departure 159 and 220. Right, as we watched earlier. Cool stuff. About his 159, he says, surprisingly difficult, had like 2 minutes before this. So like he's getting it optimized. Then he says, Midnight Departure 220 SA took me 12 minutes, really mediocre run. Even had a major stuck on a guard in a sports bag. So is lower possible? Probably yes. He posts something in really small text that we can't read. Phase on below says, Midnight Departure Agent 142? What? New strat? And we can see, you know, he talks about 142, 216, 215, 207, 210. So he's found something that's insane. Bix up here says, clearly yes. Weister says, indeed. And posts more about these new times he's gotten. 20400. 142 agent, so on and so forth. He's found a way to save 16 to 17 seconds on the stage. How? He posts this top secret video. My friends, let's look at the top secret video and see what is there to be seen. And in fact, the top secret video, we're going to dedicate this one to the most new and recent SpeedLore champion, a fella by the name Roadblock. A huge thanks for your support of SpeedLore on Patreon, Roadblock. This is a crazy run. Let's watch Henrik's top secret video from October 2013. The title on YouTube is literally called Top Secret Video, and you can barely see the CRT. It's the Philips screen at the bottom of his CRT. So there he's shooting Davidov. Got a strafe here for the Arkov's tag in the cabin. And then what are we going to see, my friends? What will we see? What is it? He's going back a completely different way. Back almost to the beginning path. And now going over to the left. This is just... what is this madness going to be? Over the far edge of the river, the left side of the river. Keep on... oh, here's a fence. Up a ridge, over the fence, baby. The fence jump. If you watched my iceberg video, you'll know that fence jump. But yes, indeed, he pulled it off. And apparently it's not even a special trick. It's a very difficult trick to pull off, but you can just straight up jump over that fence. And now he's in the airstrip already. And now, my friends, what does he do? He will indeed land the plane before getting the sports bag. The angle of approach is such that he could land the plane. You know, I wonder what the difference would have been with that other strategy without the fence jump to land the plane before the sports bag. But with this path through the stage, landing the plane before the sports bag, plane before bag method is clearly the optimal strategy. Bingo, bango, bongo, my friends. He's come over here, and here we are. He's on the path. Henchman, who are you? Mikhail Arkhov. There it is. If you run far enough away, you can skip that, like, dialogue of, do you have something for me? That we saw from Grassloo's videos. And we're taking off, baby. What a run. What a rush. And the top secret video we reveal as time on Secret Agent of 206. 206. Unbelievable new record. And hello in chat to Robojack. And yeah, Finn's imagining Pierce Brosnan sprinting across a Russian airfield to this gym bag is funny to me. I agree. What an unusual thing. So, if we look at the map again, you know, we can kind of see, like, okay, at the bottom right where this D is, that is the cabin with Arkov's badge. So you double back from here, go on this blue path, and you can just easy to visualize here how much faster it is to get into the airfield if you can jump that fence. And it's very difficult to do. In Henrik's agent speedrun of the game, he got on like 6th try. I've never hit it, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, but again, that's sort of the beauty and mystique of an arcane speed game like this, is like how, you know, there's less strategy guides out there, there's less collaborative tutorials and so on. How do you hit that jump? You know, will it ever become as easy as some of the kind of hard GoldenEye or Perfect Dark strategies? The fence jump. And in fact, Henrik and maybe one other person are the only ones to have hit it on meaningful runs. So keep that in mind. So unbelievable. And yeah, you know, we heard of Henrik getting, you know, he improved the agent time as well. The post, He improved it from 159 to 142. Let's watch the 142. And let's dedicate this one to another SpeedLore champion. And this one's going to go to our SpeedLore champion, FC Bojangles. A huge thanks to you, FC, for your support of SpeedLore on Patreon. Let's watch this remarkable Henrik. Midnight Departure Agent 142 fence jump. Cutting 17 seconds from the previous world record. There's the Davidov snipe. Now we can take a sort of left path here, as opposed to going to the cabin, because it's agent. He does not need to go to the cabin. Crosses this sort of unusual area of cliffs across the river. And we're going to get to the fence pretty quick here. Set up for it. Happens, what, 30 seconds in, 25 seconds in? So there we go. You kind of have to dip out a little bit and then over. And it's hard to pull off because you almost need 3 hands to pull it off. Holding the control stick to move up, down, the C buttons to strafe, and the D-pad to jump. I mean, maybe claw or keyboard style controller gripping would help. But yeah, so there's a little bit of jumping up the stairs. And here it's just unbelievable.
Don't hurt me. Who are you?
You know, and this is sort of what Henrik does best, is this sort of discovery of, like, is such a thing possible? You know, he's the guy who's done so much tool-assisted speedrunning in GoldenEye. Found, you know, in GoldenEye, you're lucky to find something that's like a 1/10 of a second faster at this point. But here's something that's 17 seconds faster. And, I mean, that's just marvelous, is all we can say. Truly and deeply marvelous. There's the plane, baby, the cutscene, the insane loading time, and a 142 agent. And it's just kind of unbelievably surreal when you look at, you know, the old rankings. 159, 220, so we've cut off 17 agent and 14 secret agent. It's just unbelievable. But there was even a little bit more, because Henrik kept on rolling, and he found one more tiny little tweak on agent to cut a tiny bit more time. And so this is where the world record stands on agent today. It was set again back in 2013. Unbelievable, but that shows you sort of the evolution of this game. And this one's got to go to a SpeedLore champion as well, and this one is going into none other than David O. A huge thanks to you, David, for your support of SpeedLore on Patreon. Let's watch Henrik's Midnight Departure Agent, the next and the current world record.
Quickly, sound the alarm.
Nice shots. And hello in chat to Prokyanova. And you're not here too late, you know, I'm about 50 minutes in, 45, 50 minutes in, and these Twine episodes are going to be a little bit shorter than the GoldenEye Perfect Dark ones, because there is less history. But hopefully that makes them, you know, a little bit more palatable, if anything. And, you know, what will the next chapters tell of Twine speedrunning? We see him strafing. We're going to come across the fence right now. Henrik is up and over the fence first try. I think I saw somewhere Henrik say he gets it maybe like 10-20% of the time, which is pretty good. And now this has just become like a strafing level. Almost like a streets agent. You know, this is a pretty good run. Could lower than this be possible? It looks pretty straightforward at this point. Let's see what he does here. Jumps up the stairs even more. A couple of more advanced stair jumping techniques. Speaking with the controller, and that's the key. Just a little bit of a faster way up the stairs. And certainly going up the main route through the door there would be faster than the ring around jump that he pulled off on the 220 Secret Agent. And you have Vela in chat says, grinding up the rails against Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I couldn't agree more. And we see Henrik achieve the time of Midnight Departure Agent. .141. That's where the world record remains today. Pretty insane, pretty good run. So what time would Henrik get on Double O Agent, right? We've seen it cut now 18 seconds on Agent, and that might have to be because you could have to backtrack a little bit on Secret and Double from the cabin. And he cut 14, so 18 on Agent, 14 on Secret. How much on Double O? Keep in mind the record was 220. This is now Henrik, Midnight Departure, Double O Agent, very hard to survive. Let's see what time he gets here. And keep in mind that the sports bag is in a different location on Double O than Secret Agent. It is in the tall warehouse rather than the truck. So let's take a look at the time. Wow, the light is flickering. They're very unusual. Hello in chat to Hit a Quitta. Long time viewer of the channel entering during the SpeedLore. Always a pleasure to see Hit a Quitta in chat. Hope he is well. And definitely did not get affected by any recent airstrikes. Speaking of Henrik jumping the fence to land in a air base, air traffic controller tower, and a abandoned airfield. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all avoid airline worker strikes by finding an abandoned airfield and flying off like James Bond into the night? Alas, my friends. So, Henrik, we can see he's not going for the insane kind of stair grinding run. It's Double O Agent, a lot harder to survive. Just a matter of getting fewer runs to this point on Double O Agent. No auto aim either makes eliminating Davidov much more difficult. And look, from this angle, it looks like going inside this building is going to be a little bit quicker maybe than going to the truck. Maybe not. You got to go pretty far in to get the sports bag. But let's take a look. Maybe it's less laggy. It gets pretty laggy in that section. So talk to the guard. And then you want to run away. And it seems like running away cuts out the text where you're like, do you have something for me? Here. The sports bag. So that's quite compelling. Let's see what Henrik got on Double O Agent. Remember, the time was 2:20. What's he going to get here? .204. So he's cut 16 seconds on Double O, which makes a bit of sense, you know, given the kind of real now difference in technique and strategy on the stage. Jumping the fence, completely different route. And then talking to the air traffic controller before getting the sports bag. You know, blue path is new with the fence jump. Right around where that label, the white label is on that blue line, is the fence. And then the old way is the kind of normal way, and where you're closer to the sports bag, but there you go. Now there's one more interesting thing to ponder here. If we look at the rankings, okay, here's the agent rankings as they stand on the World Is Not Enough. We see Weister get the 141. We see Cedric's amazing 159 back in the day. Peep and Red screens have now shown up and submitted 159s on Agent. None of them have hit the fence jump. If I click on Double O Agent, we see the Henrik 204, which is cool. And we see Speedrun Trainer. What does he say? Worst run in Twine history. Was happy with those insane headshots on the alarm guard and Davidov. Then it went downhill. Stuck on trees, roots very hard. Ah, God bless Speedrun Trainer. Everyone loves Speedrun Trainer. He's just such a nice, you know, an earnest, you know, he's just such a nice, modest, earnest fellow. Never claimed to be the greatest. And you just love his runs, you know, and love what he puts out there. So huge shout out to you, Speedrun Trainer. But on Secret Agent, we find something unusual. Because Henrik got 206. There was a fella who got even better at time, believe it or not. We see here, look at this carefully, okay? Your eyes may peel to the top, but just look. Bo Peep has pulled off a 220, which was the old technique that I showed. Red screen speedrun trainer up sometimes. Weister, that 06 we watched, that was the secret video. But what's this 205 by Mystery Lock? Unregistered player. There was a fella who I must have mentioned in previous episodes who, for one reason or another, and I will respect it to the extent that I can, decided that he did not want to be included in the narrative of TWINE speedrunning. And he was probably the second most prolific TWINE speedrunner after Weister. And I'm just going to call him Mystery Lock or M-Lock as a sort of anonymized name. But he deleted all his runs. He even had the TWINE Discord, which he deleted. And so there's now a lot of lost TWINE media, if there wasn't already, that we will just never recover. An entire Discord of messages about some strategy discussions. Now, it was pretty few and far between, but it was something nonetheless. Gone. And in a weird way, like, yeah, it's annoying, yeah, it sucks. You know, he didn't want me to talk about him in TWINE SpeedLore, and I guess I understand at the same time, you know, it's a part of the story now, and there's no way around it. And he did this deleting everything, the nuclear option, right after I uploaded the turncoat episode to YouTube on my SpeedLore channel. So kind of very unusual, who knows? I hope the man himself behind this is okay and well, and maybe just moving on from this, and that's fine. Most of his videos are lost. He had the world record on Midnight Departure Secret Agent. It is one of very few of his records that I happened to save, and I've managed to restore. And this is the 205 Secret Agent of Mystery Lock. Let's take a look, my friends. The only other player to hit the fence jump. Really good capture too. It's very unfortunate. And sometimes I ponder, it's such a weird double-edged sword. Because at this point I realize that my performance of TWINE SpeedLore is what caused him to delete everything and move on and not want to be included in the narrative. And it's like, do I feel bad about it? A tiny bit. At the same time, I believe that the TWINE SpeedLore will sort of increase the amount of overall good for this game and the speedrunning scene. So, you know, it's kind of these things where the narrator, me, becomes a part of the story, whether I was intending to do so or not. But we see here M-Lock goes for the jump, hits it, first try, really, really good. And yeah, Velo puts up a good point. Maybe the runs will go back someday. There actually was another guy who also deleted some runs after I made the TWINE Iceberg video, and he seems maybe more favorable to restoring them. So who knows? And yeah, Bootleg says it feels like teenage drama, which is probably true, and it's kind of insane given like we're in our mid 30s and late 30s and early 40s now. So like that's very unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. I think I see where Mystery Lock saved some time, and he jumped more straight out of the air traffic control tower. Up there, gets the sports bag. I'll replay, in fact, where I see it being better. And so he may have jumped out of part of the window where you would normally pass away, and he needed to perform the fall damage avoidance. He was kind of on a more direct path towards where the sports bag is located. And there you go, 205 Secret Agent, baby. Great run. Unbelievable run. Yeah, pretty sick. Let's take a look here. Right here. So most of them jump out on the left-hand side, but he jumped like right at the corner, right more directly towards the sports bag area, and I think that's what probably saved him a bit of time. It's hard to say, is the location of the sports bag here just a little bit closer or further than on Double O Agent? And that may be the case, because this is still 1 second slower than Double O Agent, even with this sort of improved thing. So if this player, you know, M-Lock played Double O and made that move out the air traffic area, is 203 possible on Double O, with sort of that angle of the jump. I'll show it once more, then I'll compare. So here's what M-Lock does right at the corner, right towards the airfield. Whereas on like Henrik's 204 Double O Agent, we see, you know, maybe a little more to the side. And even on like Speedrun Trainer's run, we see an even more stark difference. And again, this isn't anything on Speedrun Trainer. It's to show how most people play it, because it's an easier jump to make.
Don't hurt me.
You kind of go right here on this edge where it's much less of a fall, and it's not as precise of a fall damage avoidance, if any, is needed at all. But hey, there really is the story of this stage, Midnight Departure, Agent 141, Secret Agent 205, 00204, and it's one of those stories where, look, is lower possible? These times were done 11 years ago, 20 days ago, you know, 7 years ago, 11 years ago. Lower's probably possible, and it'll be really, really cool to see who and when any new developments happen in this game. I do love to see the modern activity from people like Red Screens and Speedrun Trainer, and even Peep showing up on the scene again. That's all really cool and epic. So, you know, by the time next month's episode rolls around, who knows what new stories will be told, what new developments there will be. I was never expecting a prolific Twine player to delete everything amidst SpeedLore. You truly never know what is going to happen. So my friends, there is the story of The World Is Not Enough 7th stage, Midnight Departure, the speedruns that have taken place, the history that's been written, and certainly the history that is yet to be written. A huge thanks to all the SpeedLore legends, the main channel members, and the SpeedLore champions for all your support of my work. I truly enjoy diving in. These Twine episodes are epic. You know, the more niche and esoteric, the better. And so we'll be back in a few weeks, next month, with another episode. You know, let me know what episode you want to see. I'm kind of an open book at this point. No hard plans. Just kind of going with the flow of the Twine SpeedLore, my friends. So thanks to all who watch and chat tonight. This will be on YouTube soon. Stay posted to the Patreon if you want the most up-to-date updates about my work. I may start streaming these live on YouTube. Maybe on my main channel, maybe on the SpeedLore channel, I'm not sure yet, but that's Patreon is where I will keep you most up to date on that. With that said, thanks for watching, my friends. Stay true, and good night.